30 days ago, I deleted every shortcut on my desktop and replaced my entire workflow with AI tools. No old habits, no fallback apps. If a task could be done by AI, it had to be done by AI, even on the days I really didn't want to. Here's what nobody tells you about doing this. The first week is brutal. Not because the tools don't work, because you don't know how to work with them yet. So in this video, I'm walking you through the full 30 days, what changed, what broke, how many hours I actually got back, and the 3 things I will never go back to doing manually again. No fluff, no AI changed my life platitudes, just the actual log. Let's start with the setup, because the setup matters more than people think. My workflow touches 5 areas every single day: email, writing, scheduling, research, and editing. So I picked exactly one AI tool for each of those 5 areas, and I made myself a rule. I had to use that tool even when my old method would have been faster, even when it was annoying, even on the days I just wanted to do it myself in 2 minutes instead of fighting with a chatbot for 10. That rule is the whole reason this experiment is honest, because most "I tried AI for a month" videos quietly fall back to old habits the second something gets hard. I didn't let myself do that. Week 1. Let's talk about week 1, because it was rough in a way I didn't expect. Email triage with an AI assistant actually took longer than just reading my inbox myself for the first few days. Not because the tool was bad, because I hadn't trained it yet. It didn't know which clients mattered. It didn't know my tone. It would draft replies that were technically correct and completely wrong in voice. Too formal, too generic, sometimes just off. I'd spend 5 minutes rewriting what should have taken 30 seconds to type from scratch. Writing felt similar. Using an AI tool for first drafts felt like co-writing with someone who'd read my work but never actually talked to me. The structure was there, the voice wasn't. I almost quit this whole experiment on day 4, sitting there rewriting an AI draft for the 3rd time, genuinely asking myself if this was worth it. But something shifted around day 8, and I think this is the part most people skip past in these videos, so I want to slow down here. The AI email assistant started catching patterns I didn't even know I had. It noticed that emails from 3 specific clients always needed a same-day reply and started flagging them before I even opened my inbox. It noticed I tended to ignore newsletter-style emails for days, so it started batching those into a single end-of-day digest instead of cluttering my main view. None of this was me programming it. This was it learning from how I actually behaved, not from how I told it I behaved, which, if you've ever tried to describe your own habits out loud, you know those are 2 very different things. By week 2, research was where things changed the most dramatically. My old process, and I want to be specific here, not vague, was opening 10 to 12 browser tabs, skimming each one, cross-referencing claims, and building a mental summary. That used to take me about 45 minutes for a moderately complex topic. With an AI research tool doing the first pass, that became a single detailed prompt and about 10 minutes of reading through what it pulled together. Now, here's the catch, and I'm not going to bury this in a footnote because it's the most important caveat in this entire video. AI research tools are confident, even when they're wrong. Not occasionally wrong, confidently wrong, with the same tone it uses when it's completely correct. That means the time savings are real, but they come with a new responsibility. You have to verify every time, especially on anything with numbers, dates, or claims you'd be embarrassed to get wrong in public. I'll get to a specific example of this going badly a little later in the video, so stick around for that. Scheduling was honestly the easiest win of the whole month. I handed over my calendar logic almost entirely, which meetings to accept, which to push back, when to protect deep work blocks versus when flexibility didn't matter. Within about a week, the AI scheduling tool was making smarter calls than I was. It started clustering my calls into fewer days, protecting mornings for focused work because it noticed that's when my output was highest. And it got noticeably better at declining low-priority meeting requests on my behalf with polite, on-brand language. Editing was the genuine surprise of this whole experiment. I expected AI to be decent at polishing writing, fixing clunky sentences, tightening paragraphs. It was good at that, sure. What I didn't expect was how much it would change my video editing process. Letting an AI tool generate a rough cut first, identifying dead air, suggesting where pacing dragged, flagging the moments that probably needed a cutaway before I touched the timeline myself, completely changed how fast I could move from raw footage to a watchable draft. By the end of week 3, I sat down and actually tracked my hours. Not a vague feeling of this is going faster. Real numbers, logged daily. I was saving roughly 11 hours a week. And I want to be clear about something. That number didn't come from one miracle tool that changed everything. It came from stacking 5 small, unglamorous wins across the whole day. 15 minutes here on email, 20 minutes there on research, half an hour on a rough cut that used to take an hour. None of those individually sound impressive. Together, they're almost a full extra workday every single week. But here's the part that matters more than the hours, and it took me until week 3 to actually notice it. My output got more consistent. I don't mean better, I mean consistent. Before this experiment, I had good days and bad days, and a lot of that gap came down to willpower. Now, and I promised I wouldn't gloss over this, let's talk about the failures, because there were real ones, and pretending this month was flawless would make this whole video useless to you. Failure number 1. An AI drafted email almost went out with a factual error in it. Not a typo, a wrong number, stated confidently, in a context where being wrong would have looked bad in front of a client. I caught it during a final read-through, but only because I happened to double-check that day. On a day I didn't double-check, that email goes out wrong. Failure number 2. A scheduling tool double-booked me. It made a reasonable-looking call based on stated priorities, but it didn't account for travel time between 2 in-person things on the same day. Purely my fault for not feeding it that context, but it's a good reminder that these tools are only as good as the information you give them. Failure number 3, and this connects back to that research caveat from earlier. An AI research summary missed a detail that mattered. Not a small detail, a detail that changed the conclusion of what I was researching. I only caught it because I happened to already know enough about the topic to notice something was off. If I'd been researching something I knew nothing about, I wouldn't have caught it. That's the scariest failure mode of this entire month, and it's the one I think about the most. So here is my honest takeaway after 30 days of doing this. AI did not replace my judgment. It replaced my busy work. The thinking still has to be mine. The decisions still have to be mine. The verifying, especially anything that could be embarrassing or costly if wrong, that still has to be mine. But the typing, the searching, the first draft of almost everything I produce, that's not coming back to me. I don't want it back. If you're thinking about trying something like this yourself, and I genuinely recommend it, don't do what I did and flip every switch on day 1. That's how you end up wanting to quit on day 4, like I almost did. Pick the one task you dread the most, the one you procrastinate on every single day. Hand that one task to an AI tool for a week, just one. See what actually happens before you touch anything else. That's the experiment. Drop a comment telling me which part of your workflow you'd hand off first if you only got to pick one. I read every single comment on these videos, and I'm genuinely curious what everyone's most dreaded task is. And if you want the exact tools I used for each of these 5 areas, with the specific settings and prompts that got me from "this is worse than doing it myself" to "I'm never going back," that breakdown is coming in the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it.